Hey guys, I am back with another book review, and today I will be talking about Dear Adam by Ava Zavora. This book is going to be released on September 17th, 2013. So this book is about a woman named Eden who is 35 and she's raising her teenage son, and she just happens to be a book blogger. So one day she begins talking to this man who complimented one of her reviews, and what sort of starts out as this very innocent, fun conversation with a stranger via Twitter develops into this full-blown online relationship. And Eden and this man named Adam begin to talk more and more. And before they know it, they're talking for several hours every day. And eventually they begin having nightly conversations via Skype. However, Adam refuses to let Eden see his face. Add to that the fact that Adam is telling her that he is an Englishman living in Italy, and he is a very, very wealthy man who plans on retiring in 2 years when he turns 30. And as you can imagine, the warning signals are sort of going off all over the place for Eden, and she doesn't know if anything this man is telling her is the truth. But as they talk more and more and they spend more time together via their conversations online, the more desperate she is that everything he's telling her is the truth, the more she wants to believe him. A few months ago, Ava Zavora contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested in reading her book, and as soon as I heard the concept for it, I jumped at the chance because I thought it sounded really unique, really interesting, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that one of my biggest guilty pleasure TV shows is the show called Catfish, which I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it, but Catfish, the word catfishing is a term that refers to someone who is in an online relationship with someone who deceives the other person by lying about where they're from, their age, what they look like, that kind of thing. So when I heard the concept of this book, I figured it would be like an episode of Catfish, only in book form. So of course I thought it would be awesome. But what I got in this book was so much more than I ever expected. I was completely blown away by this book, you guys. It took over my life this summer. I was in the middle of trying to prepare to move. I was going through a lot of changes at work, and while I was trying to read this book, and this made everything else go away. It completely overtook my life. I dreamt about this book. I thought about it when I was at work. When I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about the characters and about where the story could possibly go. It has been a very, very, very long time since I've had a book completely take over my life the way this one did, and to say that I was surprised by the effect it had on me would be putting it mildly. So as we get further into Eden and Adam's relationship, we discover that not only are there things that Adam is keeping secret from Eden, but Eden has her own secrets and has things that pretty much nobody else knows about her. But somehow Adam is able to get these things out of her. And as each revelation is revealed, we feel more connected to the characters. And about 75% of this book is actually told through conversations via email, text messaging, Twitter conversations, and stuff like that. And I really thought that would sort of give me a disconnect from the story, but I don't know how she did it, but she made it work, and she made it work beautifully, because I think it actually made me feel closer to the characters because of this sort of unconventional way they were communicating with each other. And I have to say, right from the very beginning, I was right there with Eden in doubting everything that Adam said to her. So one of the things about Adam is that the two of them begin to have these nightly conversations via Skype, but Adam just refuses to let Eden see his face, and he has this sort of viable explanation for it, although it's extremely sort of over the top, silly. But as with Eden, we so desperately want to believe what Adam is telling her is the truth. So the reader, even though they're very, very sort of hesitant and questioning everything and sort of on edge, we buy it, and for whatever reason. And that's one of the reasons why I was able to connect with Eden so much, is because even though, you know, a big part of my brain was telling me he's lying, he's not telling her what's going on, you know, there was another part that just really wanted it to be true. One of my sort of mid-year resolutions has been to make my reviews as spoiler-free as possible. So I'm not going to really get into the nitty-gritty about the actual plot, other than to say that there were so many things that happened in this book that I was not expecting. About halfway through, there's this revelation that happens that I did not see coming in any way, shape, or form. And it was one of those times where I was just sitting there with my mouth open like, oh my God, where is this coming from? And it seemingly came out of left field, but I totally bought it because it worked in the scope of the book. Ava Zavora, I don't know, I drank her Kool-Aid so happily and so readily. I bought everything this woman was trying to give me, and I wanted more. So as I said before, I originally read this book back in June as a digital ARC, and Ava Zavora was such an incredibly sweet woman by offering to send me a paperback copy of the finished book, and I was so incredibly excited. I got it a few days ago, and it is going to make my reread of this book that much more enjoyable because, as you guys know, I love being able to hold the book in my hands. But one of the aspects from the ARC that I was really, really, really hoping would still be in the finished book is that final chapter. I am not going to say anything about what the final chapter consists of. It's sort of this secret optional ending to the book, I'll put it that way, that I thought was just so completely brilliant. It completely turned the entire story upside down, and somehow she made it work so perfectly. It was absolutely genius. I loved it. I know she said she felt a little nervous and a little hesitant to put it at the end of the book because she didn't know how some people would react to it, but I myself thought it was absolute genius, and I am so incredibly happy that she included it in the finished book. This book is just fantastic. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is going to be in my top 3 favorite books of 2013. She is a phenomenal author. You know, I feel the same way I felt when I was telling you guys about Karina Haley, when I was telling you guys about Derek Landy. She is a fantastic author, and people need to know about her. People need to read her books and find out how much of a genius she is. So obviously this book got a big, humongous 6-star rating from me on Goodreads. I wrote my review back in June, but I'm sort of talking about it more now that the book is getting ready to be released. So all I can say, you guys, is read this book. Strap yourselves in for an incredibly intense, crazy, beyond entertaining ride, and it's fantastic, it's wonderful, and it is one of my all-time favorite books ever. And thank you so much once again to Ava for sending me this book. You've been just such a total sweetheart to me, and I really appreciate it. And your writing is just more proof as to why I love books and I love reading. So thank you so much for everything, and thank you guys for watching. Go out, read this book. September 17th it comes out in paperback and in ebook format. Go out, read it, love it, let me know what you think. And until next time, you guys, thank you so much for watching as always, and happy reading.